Good morning, students. Let's take a look at our morning message. June 11th, 2020. Dear students, what facts can you remember about bald eagles? Now, that was a while ago. What facts can you remember about bald eagles? How are they the same as and different from cardinals? Mrs. Kilmer. So, what facts can you remember about bald eagles? If you'll recall, we studied about bald eagles. We learned about this when we were learning about U.S. symbols. And we learned lots of different things about the bald eagle. And I'm going to review some of those facts right now. And then I'm going to talk to you about how you can compare bald eagle and cardinal, right? Okay, so the bald eagle we know is a U.S. symbol. We remember that, let me put my glasses on. I have this paper that we filled out before about the bald eagle. I'm going to show this to you and read it to you again. It says, the bald eagle is the bird that represents the USA. It is not bald. Its body has brown feathers and its head has white feathers. That is why it looks bald. Its wingspan is 6 to 8 feet, so remember they're really big, and you can see that in the diagram. This is only partially colored. It is a big, strong bird. This bird was chosen because we are a big, strong nation. Well, right away, I'm starting to think about some things that are different than a cardinal, right? Because cardinals are not big, strong birds. they have to be strong, but they are not big. So already I'm thinking of size. When I look at how I colored it in a little bit already, I'm starting to think of some colors, some different things that are different in the colors. You can see that too by looking at this cover. Also, it talks about the nest. That is a big bird. A whole car can fit inside a bald eagle's nest, so it's like a really big nest. And then on the back, we collected a lot more facts after reading several books, and I'll review some of those facts. It says, their eyesight is 3 times better than humans, flies as fast as a car drives, dives even faster. The wingspan, 6 to 8 feet, lives in forests and wild areas. That sounds a little different from a cardinal. Bald means it has a white head. It's a bird of prey. It eats small animals and fish. That sounds different from a cardinal. Special scales on its claws to grip fish. Giant nest, 12 feet across, weighs up to 3 tons. So already I'm thinking, there are things that are different from a cardinal in terms of the size. Here, I'll try to hold this like this, or actually I can just I'll hold them like this. So already we can think of in terms of size, what they eat, where they like to live, what their symbols for, what they stand for. There's some other facts too. One thing I'm thinking about is some of their behaviors. Like remember, cardinals we can find in our yard even in the winter if they have a place to stay. But do bald eagles stick around in the cold winter? Not so sure. So anyway, let me go ahead and show you the diagram. And you will be familiar with this. That means you've done this before. So if you look right over here, you can see in the Venn diagram, that's the name for a kind of diagram where you use circles, big circles to compare facts. And we've got bald eagle and cardinal. And in the middle, you're going to put where the circles overlap is where you are going to write facts about things that are the same about these two things. And in the outside part of the circle here, you're going to write what is different. And I just put in the first fact for you. They're both birds. So there are things that are the same, right? They're both birds. There might be things about their babies, their nests. There might be some things that are the same. So try to think of things that are the same and things that are different. And I look forward to hearing from you in an email about what is the same and what is different about bald eagles and cardinals. I wanted to also show you one more quick thing before we go. This is like a short video this morning because it's mostly talking about how you can do this comparing and contrasting. But in my garden, there are many more flowers that are blooming in my butterfly cafe that I have out in my yard. Thank you to the student who made my butterfly cafe sign for me. So there are more and more things that are blooming in my pollinator garden, and I just wanted to show you quickly. So for example, there's a kind of, whoops, hold on. So there's a plant called scarlet bee balm, and there you can see no glare, there we go. There's all the plants, and you can see all the little red flowers starting to bloom. And then here is a close-up of that starting to bloom, and you can imagine how inviting that will look to the bees, I hope, and some other pollinators who need some help, who need some food in my garden. And then there's the threadleaf coreopsis. It's a kind of plant that has these kind of yellow flowers. You guys are probably more likely maybe to have some of that in your yard. And here's a little close-up showing what one of those flowers looks like. And then there's another lovely, lovely plant that I didn't even plant. It's funny, you know, it's really cool. Plants are amazing. And some kind of plants just spread on their own. And these actually spread from my neighbor's yard, kind of under the fence, from bulbs. Bulbs are those kind of things that look a little like onions that you plant in the ground and they end up making flowers. And it's a lily. So this is, you guys have probably, this is probably something you might have in your own yard, or you might have seen around Arlington, because these are starting to bloom everywhere in Arlington. And the very interesting thing about these, and a neat thing that you can do with these, you might ask, of course, ask your parents, is if you have this in your yard, or if you have a friend that has this, after you enjoy the flower for a few days, and if there are plenty, you might ask someone if they could cut one for you, and then you can dissect it. So dissecting is when we cut something apart like a scientist to observe the details and to learn more about it. So this plant, when I used to teach science, we used to dissect these and learn about the different flower parts, the petals, the parts where the pollen grows, the pistil, the stamen. Those are all really cool words that help you learn about flowers and plants and how they grow and how they reproduce. So that's kind of a fun thing to consider maybe doing with the help from a parent. You don't ever want to go around plucking things without asking. Anyway, so I just hope you enjoyed that sharing about the flowers that are blooming in my garden. And I'll see you later this afternoon with our fun story.